What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Frozen Road Podcast. I am John Hunter. This is Danny the Pitchman Hart, and we are welcomed by a great guest today. We got my man Jonny Gomes on the podcast today. Johnny, how are you doing, my man?
Man, doing all good, Taking it in Scottsdale. We got like one of our 2 or 3 years of rain going on right now. So it's like a freaking snow day. It's wild.
That's
Raining.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Johnny, tell people who you are, what you do for the game of baseball, what you've done for the game of baseball as well.
Well, shit, at this age now. I played 12 years professionally. Kicked off 2001. Tampa Bay Devil Rays drafted me in the 18th round. With the Devil Rays from 01 to 08. Then went over to Cincinnati for 3, Washington, went over to Oakland A's, went to the Boston Red Sox for 2, back to Oakland, checked in with Atlanta Braves, Kansas City, left with 2 World Series rings, 13 Red Sox, 15 Kansas City Royals. Did a little stint in Japan at the end, played some winter ball in Mexico, did the Arizona Fall League, you name it, man, this and that. Did player development with the Diamondbacks for 5 years. Now I'm kind of out of the game, in the game. The old home run hitting guy still getting ready to go to the Home Run Derby X.
Awesome.
And then also working with, this super cool ball tracking data company called Yacker Tech. And kind of laying it in the weeds right now, but let me tell you something. This thing's getting ready to take over the whole game. Book it.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you brought up the 2013 Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
I have told you probably about 8 different times while we were messaging on Instagram that I'm a Red Sox fan. That I saw all 4 the 4 World Series since 2004. I was alive for all of them. I was young, old enough to be able to watch all of them and appreciate them. That 13 team is by far my favorite team, and it's because of the way you guys were a team.
Yep.
And I think, I'm going to ask you a lot more about this, but what was it about that team that made you guys be what you were? I mean, the year prior, they were the record was 65 and 93. The year before you got there, David Ross got there. You guys ended up being 97 and 65 the following season. That is a hell of a turnaround.
Yeah.
And what was it about that team?
From worst to first.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you got to, you go back 2012 again, there's a fire sale there at the end of the year where they basically said, like, who are our superstars? Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, Nick Punto was in. They shipped them all off to the Dodgers for that huge trade. Yeah. So going into 2013, a whole new team, a whole new everything. But man, that team was built different, man. It was totally built different. And, where we are now, you literally got to tip your hat to the front office. Call it rebuilding, you call it this, but basically what it was dudes that were like 29 to 33 years old and starving for a championship. Right? So you bring in Shane Victorino, you bring in David Ross, Jake Peavy came over, Mike Napoli came over, Stephen Drew was there. Yep. John Lackey comes back healthy. Andrew Miller, Koji Iwahara comes over. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And sprinkled in with a little bit of Ellsbury and a little bit of Pedroia and a little bit of Salsomachia. And I remember first day of spring training, like, damn, this team's sick.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It was different. It was definitely a different vibe. And I think we can all agree that, with the tragedy in 2013 in Boston, I felt like, it was kind of evident you guys uplifted that city with the way you guys were playing, the way that you guys, went about yourselves. You grew the beards out. It was just, you guys just completely like took over the city and made them feel like it was their city. It was your city again. Like, David Ortiz came out and said it. This is our fucking city. And that was just a huge, huge moment for you guys. And I felt like that after that, the Daniel Nava home run, like that was like everything just, went into your favor from that moment on, and it was just time, and you guys knew it.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I think when you win, obviously everyone remembers, but if you don't win, people kind of forget. But what a lot of people forget is the Bruins that year went all the way to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, and it was like, wow, like what a story after the tragedy. Like we didn't even have time to like gather ourselves, and the Bruins are going to bring a Stanley Cup and have a parade and almost like fix this whole deal.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Game 7, they lost. And it was like, oh man, like where's Tom Brady? You know, like
Exactly.
It's the offseason. Like Tom ain't coming. And you know, there's that game against the Royals when David Ortiz had that speech, and a lot of people point to that. But I tell you what, man, I point it to dudes like rolling to the ballpark after Game 7 of the Stanley Cup when they lost, and it was like, oh boy, it's on us now. You know, like it was so close, and they didn't do it, and it just showed like how much the city needed something positive, and then boom, slammed with this huge Game 7 negative. So I tell you what, after that game, I think it all turned around.
I mean, you know, and one question, like me and my brother both big Sox fans. So one question that he wanted me to ask you was, where were you when all that happened, and what was going through your mind, and all? When, you know, were you with the team? With, you know, who were you with? What was going on
For the bombing?
For the bombing when that happened?
Yeah, so if you're the bombing, you know, that's Patriots Day. So that's the one day of the year where first pitch, I think, is like 10:50 or 10 o'clock. So with that being said, we were rocking and rolling early. And that game, Mike Napoli hit a walk-off double. So it was just positive Pete. Everything's awesome. Getting to the ballpark was, you know, a mess, and leaving's a mess, but, you know, it was all good. You know, it's Patriots Day. It's history. It's Boston. So we had to, you know, do our walk-off, do our big celebration. Then it's like, hurry up, get dressed, and get out. You know, normally you want to hang out, check out your phone, or do this or do that. But it was just like, boom, boom, boom. And I remember by the time we got on the bus, you know, where social media is, you know, it's like, what is this? What is this? What is this? And, you know, we thought there was like a transformer explosion or something. It's kind of like, oh, what a bummer, this and that. And then all these photos come up of, you know, the gruesome, the blood, the this, the that, and then looking for answers, and my gosh, there's no answers at all. And then it comes out, boom, they're bombs, right? So then there's a bomb at Fenway, there's a bomb on our plane, there's a bomb, you know, down the street, and then it's like, oh my God, I remember. So we're going to Cleveland. And it was just, wow, we're supposed to be like the rock of the city, and we got, you know, family and kids in town, and we're going this way, and the other way coming this way, it was just like fire trucks, ambulance, fire trucks, ambulance, fire trucks, ambulance. And it was wild.
I can imagine. I mean, like I remember. I mean, I actually live in Philadelphia, and I remember everyone, their eyes were glued to the TV all day, waiting for this guy to, like, for what I think it was 2 days. We were just waiting for this guy to get caught. And it was just, it was, I think everyone at that moment, like, finally joined me in Philadelphia, and we're like, let's cheer for the Sox. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what it was. Everyone, like, that's how I looked at it, is you guys made everything right again. I mean, you had the Be Strong shirts and all that stuff, and hanging in the dugout. It was just a big moment for you guys. And I think the whole city of Boston appreciated everything that you guys did for them during that. And even though you guys probably didn't feel like, you guys might not have even known how much you guys did, but it was a huge thing.
Yeah, but I mean, I tell you what, you know, like in between the lines, you know, like the teams were playing, they didn't give a crap.
No,
right?
no.
Detroit Tigers didn't give a crap. Bomb went off and all this stuff. They're trying to kick our butt. St. Louis, you know, Cardinals, they didn't give a crap. You know, they're trying to knock, you know, kick our door down. So at the same time, I mean, we still had to play and grind and win and be great. But with that being said, man, it was there's definitely some heavy hearts, and you know, I mean, there's always has to be, I think, something bigger than what happens on the field that you have to play for.
Yeah.
And you know, boy, was it like slapped in our face every single home game. I mean, you talk about 81 home games. think that, happened the second month of the season. So we probably had about right around 60 home games left. And Boston did a great job, but every single first pitch wasn't some celebrity jabroni or something like that. It was like a survivor, a doctor, a first responder, a mom, a dad, a girl, a kid, anything. And every time we were about to take the field, it was just there's something big going on.
Is that Red Sox team your favorite team you've ever owned?
When you win a World Series, it's obviously
an easy,
a different side, but I was fortunate enough to go to the World Series in 2008 with the Tampa Bay Rays. Again, if you don't win, people forget. There you are down there in Florida. But man, that team was bananas. You talk about homegrown talent.
Yeah.
It was a while ago, absolutely not too long ago. But imagine going to the World Series this day and age with a $43 million payroll. That's what we were rocking with,
that's impressive.
A young BJ Upton, a young
Rocco
Evan Longoria, Rocco Baldelli, a Crawford, a James Shields, a Kazmir, kicking over rocks and finding the Cliff Floyds and the Eric Hinskies and Troy Percivals. And that team was bananas. And then, fortunate enough, the other ring, with the Kansas City Royals.
Man. Another young team.
And then, I was fortunate enough to be on another young team with 2010. We won the division with the Reds.
Yeah, man.
That was a young Jay Bruce, a young Drew Stubbs, a young Votto, a lot of these guys. 2012 Oakland A's. 2012 Oakland A's. People forget about that team. Bananas. Went all the way to the seventh game. Lost to Verlander twice. But we were in first place for the whole season for 4 innings. In the 6th inning, we took the lead over Texas and won game 162 to put us in first place, which was wild.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I did forget about that. And that's another thing. I feel like you played for with today's day and age in baseball, everything's very analytical. It's getting that way. And weirdly enough, are you an analytical fan, or do you like the analytical side of baseball?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would assume you would, because you played for 3 teams. The 3 teams that you played for are pretty analytical, with the Red Sox, the Rays, obviously, and the Oakland A's. The A's are pretty much the godfather of the analytical era. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, listen, I say all the time, like baseball, as old as it is, and the old school mentality still plays every single day. Our game can be really simple, and then again you get into the analytics and it's overwhelming and it's all this stuff. But I think our game is really smart, and it gets rid of stuff that doesn't work. Right? They've tried all kinds of new crap here and there, and it just dwindles out. If you remember, it was probably 6-7 years ago when it was you catch a fly ball, you have to take it and you have to take a step.
And transfer.
The transfer. That was a new rule. And then they literally banged it a month into the season. They're that rule's stupid. Right? So parlaying that into analytics, if analytics didn't work, or if analytics weren't valuable, they'd be gone.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
This day and age, it's probably the most important department in all 30 teams. Every single player on defense has a card in their back pocket. Every single catcher has a wristband with good, bad, pros, cons, what to go to, this, that, everything. And those are all based on analytics. Now, here's this big thing of analytics. All 30 teams are going to read them different. So that's the chess match.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you feel about the shift being banned? Starting next year.
I don't think shift should be banned at all by any means.
I don't think you should be able to tell a defense how they can align. That's ridiculous to me.
It's a different sport, and it's all this stuff. I always go to say it's first and goal on the 3-yard line in football. And you have to have 2 safeties.
Yeah, cornerbacks.
You have to have, your DBs on the side, and you have to have 3 linebackers. You can't have a goal line defense.
Yeah.
Right. That's the same
Makes
thing.
sense.
The dude can't hit it to the left side, but I have to put dudes on the left side, and in basketball, right? Like if a dude can't dribble with his left hand, but you can't fade him on defense to go to the left side. I think it has to be an offensive switch instead of like changing the rules by any means. I mean, you want to get rid of the shift, bunt.
Beat the shift.
Yeah.
Beat it. Bunt.
Hit over it. Like, like it is crazy. And you have guys like, you have Danny, who's a Phillies fan. I mean, you got guys like Ryan Howard, who's, his career, I'm sure he would have loved for the shift to be banned, but that just was what it was. The guy, he couldn't hit the left side. Yeah. It is what it is. Schwarber,
like Schwarber the other day bunted down the third base line. Beautiful. Harper tries to do it all the time. Like, you have players out there willing to beat it. Like, I don't think that it should be banned whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know what the plus side of it's going to be. Like, I don't know, like, where they like, oh, this is really, really going to help our game.
Yeah, do you think it boils down to like them wanting more offense in the game, like more singles? Pretty much you're getting.
Yeah,
you're not getting anything other than singles out of it.
Well, if you're gonna get more singles, then you're gonna get a longer game. Yeah. And that's like the number one thing is shorten the game, shorten the game. Now you're gonna have 15, 20 hits each side.
Do you feel like they can? I mean, I feel like this is something that gets talked about a lot, but do you feel like they're trying to make rules for people who don't watch the game?
I think they're trying to make rules for the Instagram, YouTube highlight reel watchers, right? So I mean, they watch the game for like 3 minutes, right? They just go, they see what happens, and they want exciting stuff, right? So I think as far as like the old school guys watching the strategy, I would say like your game for baseball, your love for baseball kicks off when you find out what goes on in between pitches, which you can't see, if you're not watching the whole game. Amen. But at the same time, if you go all the way down to the youth, where the youth baseball is, there's so much youth baseball. There's travel ball. So it's not like these kids aren't watching the game. They don't have time to watch a game because they have a game, which is crazy. I mean, we all grew up with WGN and TNT with the Cubs and the Braves. It was boom, checking in, watching the whole game. So yeah, I don't know. It's a whole different department than I'm in, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't ban the shift. And it's gonna like take away from a huge part of the game, like the cards in your pocket, right? Like I need you on this side of second or that side of second. Now there's just got to play straight up.
Yeah, it's something that I think about all the time. Like I honestly feel like they try to change it for people who just don't watch it. They don't like it. People who don't like the game of baseball. Like, why are you continuously trying to make them like it? If they don't like it, they don't like it. They're not. If the game has been what it is for so long, allow it to continue to be that way.
Yeah, it's always.
I mean, I'd like to meet the fan that's like, oh, I'm going to check in next year for sure and watch as many games as I can because there's going to be no shift.
No more shift. Yeah, like baseball's always been known as like the thinking man's game, and you just literally took that aspect out of the defense. It's just so dumb.
I don't know how it's going to grow the game, but. Like I said, it is what it is.
So Jonny, how did your journey start? Where did you grow up? Who did you what was your team that you rooted for when you were younger? How did that go?
Yeah, so I grew up in Northern California, just north, about 45 to an hour north of where like the San Francisco Giants and Oakland A's. Okay. Playing Sonoma County, Napa Valley. So I was chilling at 8-9 years old with the '89 World Series. And that's when the A's and the Giants, played each other. And I was just super stoked as a kid. I was like, the two best teams are right in my backyard. And whoever wins is probably going to be my favorite team from now on. And if you remember the '89, and then boom, the earthquake, the '89 earthquake. So it delayed the World Series there. And Oakland A's were able to come out on top. And man, that if you watch those late '80, early '90 teams, like frick, man, that's how baseball played. You got Ricky Henderson flying all over the place. You got the Bash brothers. You got little like 5'5", 5'6" Mike Gallego just holding it down as short. You got Carney Lansford with the unique, stance at third. You got Eckersley, Dave Henderson and Dave Stewart. And anytime I see those guys, I'm like, you're all is why I play the game, and you're all why I play the game, how I play the game. You guys groomed me by just watching. Yeah. So, that's where it started right there in Northern California. I went to a junior college and got drafted in 01 by Tampa in the 18th. And the rest was history.
That's awesome.
Do you think just the fact that you just said that the Bass Bros, like you pretty much turned into one of them? Like you were that big right-handed dude that's going to come up to the plate and just smash a baseball. Like, you think that had a huge impact with them two guys?
Absolutely, man.
When you're that young man, like.
Yeah, I mean, I figured out real early that you need some freaking huge forearms and some guns if you want to succeed. It was right there every day. And then, on the other side of the bay, it was Barry Bonds getting all the love. And I was like, yeah, homers play. Homers play.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't shift the home run, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, hell no. I always think about that the with you. That in 2013, that home run in Game 4 of the World Series, and the emotion of you running around, we see what's going on, but what was going through your head when you were running around around the bases, like that? Like I think I was acting the same way you were when you were running around the bases.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot that goes on to that. I mean it goes back to chilling in the backyard at 5 and 6. But. I mean, to tell you the truth, I was never really like banking on hitting the home run. Like, sure, I was going to try, but with my path and what I was cut out for, the only thing I ever wanted was the opportunity.
Yeah, man.
Right? I just wanted to be in the box with the opportunity, and
you got that.
Those are rare, man. Those are super rare. You look at there's tons of dudes, especially a ton of active dudes right now that haven't been to the World Series, right? Like, look at Mike Trout. Like, I got more opportunities than Mike Trout, flat out, right? So, I mean, it's a hard game, man. I mean, 300 average is really good, So, I mean, when you start banking on getting hits, it's tough. But I just fought my whole career for the opportunity, found myself right there, and I knew, I did my homework, going into that at bat and going into a lot at bats, and round ball, round bat, and squared it up.
I love that. It's crazy because we had Dallas on back in January, and he's the reason why I even reached out to you. And I feel like I could, talking to you, I understand how and why he said you, because you guys are very similar in the way that you guys are very chill. It's very easy to just shoot the shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's how Dallas was. It was just, and I love that this is how it is, that it's not because you can talk to them. It's very robotic. It can be very robotic with certain people, but this is very you can ask Danny. That's just how this feels. It's
it's refreshing to have. You're just like a normal dude. Like, we're both union workers in Philly, and then just I feel like you're the same type of hardworking guy. You just got God's gift of fucking crushing baseballs.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is refreshing to have just you and Dallas. These are great to talk to. So
yeah, man. I mean, I always wanted to represent those dudes. I mean, like I said, the opportunity, and how many union workers in Philly, what would they do for an opportunity to step in the box at Citi Field just one time? So I felt I'd be leaving so many dudes out, if I just went in there and just laid an egg, or didn't try, or didn't run hard to first, or didn't freaking lay out in a full head first slide, or dive in the outfield because whatever. I'm like, man, this dude putting a roof on in Phoenix. Yeah, this dude putting a roof on in Phoenix. He doesn't give a crap. He would do anything. He'd run through a wall. So I figured I'd have to represent those guys too.
So you'd always be the first one out there for bases clear, bench clear and brawl. You'd be out there first.
Protect the homies.
Yeah, dude. That resonates for cities like Boston and Philly. I feel like if you didn't get to play in Philly, but you would have been a day one fan favorite. You bring
everything to the game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I mean, I'm not too fond of Philly, to tell you the truth, just because they kicked our butt, no wait for the World Series, and then they knocked us out in 2010 with the Reds.
Well, but put it this way, I mean, you got 2 rings. We have 1 since 1980. So I mean, who's really on top?
But some of my favorite players roll through there. I mean, one of the dudes that I resonate with and I learned a lot from, dude but is Jason Worth. Jason Worth is, he's a savage there, and went over to Washington, turned that whole org around. Chase Utley, of course, Jimmy Rollins, Aaron Rowland, I mean, and those pitching, Roy Halladay, Awesome, or who's the other guy that was there? Roy Halladay, all those guys.
Cliff Lee.
Cliff Lee, Oswalt. That was
Oswalt.
That 2010 rotation was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah,
and
they buzzsawed us for sure.
I mean, Roy Halladay threw the no-hitter.
I was there too. I mean, that's one of the very few games I go back and watch, and man, there's nothing we could have done.
I was going to say, I meant to ask you about that because Jimmy Rollins was doing broadcasting the Phillies game, I think like 2 weeks ago, or maybe last week, and he mentioned that. He looked over at Chase Utley 3 pitches into the game. He said, they don't got a chance. Like, the Reds have no chance in this game. He knew from the third pitch that he wasn't going to lose. Like, he had that no-hit stuff.
Yeah, man, I faced him, the whole time coming up when he was in Toronto. We were a really, really good hitting team, that 2010 Reds team. I think we hit like right around 280 as a team. So, I mean, we thought we had a chance for sure. You talk Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto. Joey Votto was running for the Triple Crown that year. Jay Bruce, Drew Stubbs, goes on and on. Scott Rowland. But, yeah, man, we had no chance.
So I saw recently that you had an opportunity with probably the coolest organization going right now in baseball, and that's the Savannah Bananas.
Sure.
How awesome was that? You see the how was the atmosphere there? Like, it seemed like it was fucking cool. It's cool as shit there.
Bro, let me tell you, no one's ever, I don't think, are going to be like, oh, I don't like baseball anymore. I only watch the Savannah Bananas. But everyone's going to be watching these dudes. It's like the most electric show ever. And
yeah, man.
The Landsman turns like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's so hard to do these gimmicky Harlem Globetrotter stuff and still be good at baseball. So
it's ridiculous.
Neat roster. Like the dude throwing on stilts and the rodeo clown pitching and this guy jumping over his bat, doing a backflip, doing a TikTok, and then just lacing a double.
Smacks a double. Yeah.
There's not many people that can do that.
No.
This dude on the mound doing some shimmy TikTok, whatever, and then 94. Yeah. I mean, and the rules that they have and the fan engagement that they have, bro, it's gonna catch wildfire.
Yeah, it's like, just by looking at Instagram and stuff like that, and you see all the the videos and stuff, it just looks like the atmosphere there is just so fucking cool.
Yeah,
and you just want to be a part of it. And I'm and then I saw I think I heard I listened to a lot of Jared Carabas's podcast, and I listened to Baseball is Dead, and I heard Pat. They asked Pat Light if he wanted to do it, and he got real nervous about it. Why would you it just I get how he is, and you can just tell just by listening to his him on there. You just jumped right in. What do you think would take? Why do you think players are would be hesitant to do that?
So I tell you, so getting ready for this Home Run Derby X, coming on and taking off the cleats and the batting gloves and all this stuff, and then strapping it back on.
Yeah,
people are like, oh yeah, that's awesome. It's like riding a bike. Hell no, it's not riding a bike, dude. Hitting a ball is hard, right? Sure. That guy's trying to get you out. Bananas or not bananas, on the line. So I mean, and then the one thing about baseball is, you airball a shot in basketball, or you throw a ball 10 yards over your receiver. Baseball has that embarrassing factor.
Yeah.
It's you look like crap, and once you take those things off and you let your guard down, yeah, I mean, the game is tough.
Yeah. The game fine. They always say, if you're at a position in baseball, they always say the baseball finds you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's I guess I can understand where he would come from. All right, well, if he's nervous, it'll find him. It definitely will find him again.
Yeah. I mean, even they asked me, they're like, do you want to play the outfield and hit? And I'm like, I ain't going to the outfield right now. Hell no. That's that embarrassing factor. It's going to land on my head or take a bad route or something. Let me just sit here and try and get a fastball to hit.
Dude, so I was kind of you're only the second, player or former player we've had on. Dallas obviously was the first, and you're the first actual position player. So something I thought about while I was doing this, I'm like, let me find a crazy obscure stat about Jonny Gomes. And I found something that I'm not sure if you even realize this. So I'm on Fangraphs and I'm looking through stuff, looking at different counts, stuff like that. Your career with a 3-0 count. You batted .328 with a .793 on base percentage, .688 slug. That's a 1.48 OPS. You had a .289 WRC plus, 7 home runs, 2 doubles, 12 singles. That's in 64 at bats and 213 plate appearances. That's 196 games you did that in your 1,203 games in your career. If you could just bat, you're literally the Babe Ruth of 3-0 counts. Like you just absolutely rip baseballs with 3-0 counts. Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely hunted, 3-0. By any means, was it not like an auto take?
Yeah, no.
But I mean, even when I coach, hitting and batting and like baseball now, how I coach it is like the counts are relevant. Like the count is irrelevant. Like the ball coming in is the action, right? Like 3-0, yeah, take a whack, absolutely. Take a whack. Like no situation should there ever be like an auto take. So yeah, and I mean there's times when you follow the game and this and that and 3-0, sometimes that's the best pitch you're gonna get, and hunt the pitch, hunt the location, and do damage. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah, like you because you see a lot of guys who, like you said, it's an auto take for a lot of guys. 3-0, they just sit up there and
bat doesn't even leave their shoulder. Yeah.
Nah. Yeah. You hunted it, and you could tell. Look at the numbers. Like by far of all the counts, that's the best count that you look for, and you could tell just by looking at your fan graphs and stuff like that. It was so I just found that to be crazy, and I'm glad that you explained why, because like I said, some people do, like you said, people look at that as let's just watch it down the plate. Like, no, I'm gonna fucking smash it, and I love that.
I mean, obviously I didn't hit 1,000, so there's definitely a lot of outs there. But at the same time, just having what's on your mind. I mean, my approach majority of the time, and definitely 3-0, like my approach was to change the freaking score. That's what it was.
I love it.
And a walk was absolutely the last thing on my mind. So, 3-0, that's one, when you look at the counts of 3-0, what's coming to the plate, you're probably going to be around the 85 to 88% heaters. So what it eat?
Yeah, absolutely. So you've brought up the home run derby that you're going to be doing in the UK, and it's also, where else did you mention it was going to be at? It's in London.
It's going to be London. Take July 9th, and then we're going to go to Seoul, South Korea, and then we're going to go to Mexico City. There it is. And it'll be 4 cities the following year. And there it is, 4 the following year.
That's awesome. So can you explain how you got into that? How, like, who reached out? The whole organization, what's going on, and, why you even said yes to doing it.
Yeah. I mean, when I got the call of like what was on the line, right? Like, let's go to London for a home run derby. It's like, okay, done. And then I was like, how the hell did y'all get to me? Right. Like, which means like someone had to turn this down but
yeah.
So it obviously, has to be an alumni player, right? Because it's during the season. It was cool. And it was like, so once you get into the alumni players, I mean, the dudes that can hit a home run, like bobsled down still.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of dudes like hang it up and they're like, oh, my back hurts, my knee hurts, and totally like great excuses. So when you get into the alumni players for a legit home run derby, your pool kind of goes down of dudes that can, still hit. I mean, I don't got too much of a chip or this or that, but like, man, I want to keep my power forever. I don't know how many opportunities I have, but if someone's going to knock on my door to hit some homers, I always want to say yes. That's and awesome. Have the opportunity to, travel the world to hit homers. Sign me up.
That's funny. That's it. I mean, that's awesome. I'm happy that you're doing it. And I did, like I mentioned, I loved watching you play in Boston, so I'm going to be even more excited to. Is this going to be televised? Are we going to be able to watch this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be streamed. I'm not quite sure where it's going to land. I'm sure it's going to land like everywhere because, it's a huge like social media backing with the content creators. Um, they're doing an unbelievable job of like pushing this. But it's just like this huge like fan engagement, like grow the game. I was talking to the dudes putting it on. They're like, you go to London, you actually like cruise around. Like you see Red Sox hats, you see Yankee hats, you see Cub hats, like all over the place. He's like, but the funny thing is, these people don't even know what they're wearing. They just think it's like a cool, like American brand. They don't even know it's like a sports team. So, bringing, the inside out and bringing, all the stuff of the sports team to these places where, MLB isn't, locked in right now. I think it's going to be nothing but an absolute plus for growing the game.
Yeah. You got to imagine it's going to be. I mean, it's, we want the game to grow, and in order for that to grow, I said this to you off air. I mean, we all, like, everyone always comes here that, from Cuba, from Dominican, from everywhere, from Australia. We've seen players come, like, but we don't go there.
Yep.
And it needs to happen more. And, I know that the season alone is so long as it is. And I'm sure people don't want to travel that much as much as because they're already traveling enough. And it's you're away from your families a lot. And but it would be nice to see the game get out there. I mean, the Red Sox and Yankees have played in the UK, and that was a success. They got a nice crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the home run derby expanding the game, where MLB is now probably different from the other four major sports, in the country is Major League Baseball is full blown the Olympics, right? It's not like the best Americans like going head to head. I mean, there's Dominican, Venezuela, there's South America, Canada. It's like,
Asia.
It's like rare if you have like 20 Americans on your team. Like, you're looking at like 9 to like 12 max, less than half. So, I mean, let's just get this game like over there. The Bahamas are coming, right? The Bahamas, who plays ball in there? Friggin' Jazz Chisholm, right? That guy's nailing it right now. So, I mean, it's all over the place. So it's cool that MLB is finally, taking a step in the right direction and growing the game globally.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that this is not a Major League Baseball thing, right? This isn't a Manfred, Tony Clark thing. This is a whole different organization who's running this.
Yeah, it's all MLB UK, and I mean they're grinding on it. They're flying out here, we're flying there, this and that. It's the first, right? It's the first time they've ever done it. So the cool thing is, like, the home run derby, it's not gonna be like at a baseball park. So they're taking the derby and putting it inside like an existing event. So the one in London is gonna be like right in the middle, going on at the same time as the biggest music festival in the world. We're supposed to go to Berlin. I think it was Berlin, but it got canceled with COVID. It's gonna be like right in the middle of Oktoberfest. Like, how cool is that?
God,
that's awesome.
Yeah. When we go to Seoul, South Korea, it's gonna be like at one of the biggest like hotel casino resorts in the world. We go down to Mexico City, it's gonna be like dead center in the middle of the town. Right. So I mean, they're taking the home run derby event and put it in the middle of an existing event. So it's gonna be like all kinds of unique people, and they're gonna love baseball after it. I guarantee it.
I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So before we end this, what player right now do you watch and you're just in amazement? You have the Otanis, the Trouts, Harper. You have many Red Sox that you could Devers. You have there's a lot of players that are around. I mean, what players do you look at right now and you're just like, God damn, like, I'm glad I'm not playing right now?
I'm not too worried about the pitchers right now, right? Like, you throw a Hunter's fine. I'm not worried about it.
He'll go out faster.
Yeah, but like the youth, man, this O'Neal kid, 2 or 3 days in, this guy's 6'7", playing shortstop, like 6'7". He comes in, he's got 18 innings, and he's got the fastest throw across the diamond at 96, and he's going 112 off the bat. He stole his first bag. Soto for Washington's like freaking bananas. Like, when his free agency comes up, it's going to be a very, very unique because it's just 500 million. If you're to pay him on WAR and if you're to pay him on numbers, you're looking at like 550 to 600 million. Like, oh, that's too much. Like, it's what he's worth.
Enough.
Do you think the Nationals will offer him the deal, or they're going to let him walk or trade him?
Well,
You think they're going to cut that check?
They could. They absolutely could. But I think with him and his management and what could be on the board, like you got to test free agency, right?
100%.
There's unique stuff like Chapman with the Yankees where they traded him and then signed him back. You definitely can get a haul if you trade him and then you can sign him back. But yeah, man, this is something to watch. And Aaron Judge too, right now, right? I mean, where's he going to go? What's going to happen there? Yeah, how good that team is. You got Rafael Devers, who's sick. And the other, it's the cool thing is like 19, 20-year-olds. I remember back in the day, it was like Andrew Jones and Ken Griffey Jr. Now, like 20 years old, these kids are ready. Like let's go at 20. So yeah, it's cool to watch the game right now. I mean, there's a lot of talent in our game.
So it's funny. There's one more actual thing I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So I'm watching we're watching the Red Sox game the one day, and you're there, and I see you catch a home run ball on the monster, and it was a Trevor Story. Yeah, it was a huge moment. Trevor Story was going off at the time, and you just so happened to be just sitting at the monster, and there it was. How awesome was that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We were back there. I was with some of the home run derby people doing some like PR stuff and all that. I've gone back there. I've called some games for Nesson. If there was ever a time that I had off or whatever, I just begged for those seats on the monster. Just like, man, it's the coolest place in America to watch baseball. Definitely. And every time I'm up there, it's like cool to watch, but I'm just begging for a home run ball, right? Begging for a home run ball. And, Trevor Story grand slam, like right in my lap. Yeah, it was electric, and I turned into like an 8-year-old kid, like bam, like that.
Pulled your shirt up.
Yeah. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea what to do.
Last got your Jerry, you got your Jerry beads.
Yeah.
Did you ever do you go to Boston often?
Yeah, I check in there. I check in there. Pretty often. I'm going back there. I think at the end of the month. Yeah, I mean,
will you be there? Will you be there in August at all?
I could be. I mean, the phone rings in there.
I'm going to Red Sox Yankees on it's a Saturday game. I think it's August 13th.
Mm-hmm.
We should link up, my man.
Yeah, I mean, there's Red Sox Yankees. There's all those rivalries. I mean, I went to what was that? Was it Red Sox Seattle, right? Like, I don't care who they're playing. Sox baseball.
Yeah, man.
Sweet Caroline in the 8th, sold out. It's electric. So,
it's gonna be awesome. But I just think it's just gonna be such an electric time because at that time things are ramping up.
Oh yeah, and then there's gonna be a lot on the line.
There's gonna be a lot on the line, so I think you should check in that weekend.
All right, I'll put it on the calendar.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, the Yankees slow the fuck down too. Yankees are running away with that.
I mean, the only way they're going to slow down right now is injuries, right? I mean, they're not slowing down. Their catcher's on fire. Rizzo's hitting tanks. DJ LeMahieu, I mean, he hasn't even got to his 380 clip yet. They're on fire, man. Josh Donaldson, boom. Oh yeah, I got that guy too. Yeah.
Matt Carpenter all of a sudden is back.
Yeah, and Chapman hasn't even been there. He's coming back.
That was crazy. How Matt Carpenter just showed up and decided
shaved it.
12 at bats,
shaved his face.
More homers.
Yankees are notorious for those guys. I mean, you got to tip your hat to the higher ups. That Cashman, man, he knows what he's doing. He can kick over some rocks and find some dudes.
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time, so it makes sense.
Yep.
But I mean, that's all I have. Dan, you have anything else you want to ask?
No, I'm good.
Nothing else.
I mean, how stupid do you think the Yankees rule is with their fucking facial hair and hair? Like that's dumb as hell in itself.
Yeah, I think it's dumb as hell. But I mean, man, that's the Yankee way. I mean, I think there are a lot of people like rolling in their graves if they were ever to change it, right? So I mean, it's the Yankee way, and there's a lot of stuff, on top of that is the Yankee way, So, you got Johnny Damon to shave his beard. You got a lot of dudes to shave their beard. So
Judas.
But yeah, that's the Yankee
Red
way.
Sox
When you're hanging 27 world titles behind home plate, I don't think it matters if you're shaving or not.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I always liked about Red Sox Yankees. I feel like Red Sox were the blue collar,
absolutely
gritty, all that stuff. The Trot Nixons with the dirt all over the hat, like that was Red Sox. And then you look over the Yankees; they're very prim, proper.
Yeah,
it's the way it should have been. It's the way it should be. And I love that about them. I love that about that rivalry, and I love that.
Yeah, it makes for a good rivalry. It really does. I mean,
absolutely.
If they're both very similar, it'd be too hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
definitely.
It's one of the big ones. Absolutely historic.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Johnny, I appreciate you coming on. This is it was a long time coming, but I'm so happy that it ended up happening, my man.
Cool. Yeah, you guys take it easy, man.
You too, man.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Be good.
We're out.